Do you really want it, or do you just like the idea of wanting it? Because there's a difference between a wish and a war cry. There's a difference between talking about purpose and bleeding for it. You say you want the breakthrough, but you won't break your routine. You say you want elevation, but you won't leave what's comfortable. You shout, "I'm ready." But the moment pressure shows up, you start negotiating with your destiny. Hear me today, wanting is not enough. Talent is not enough. Prayer without pursuit is not enough. When you really want it, sleep becomes optional, excuses become offensive, and delay becomes unacceptable. When you really want it, pain doesn't stop you, it qualifies you. So I didn't come to motivate you, I came to confront you. Because the question is not, can you have it? The question is, do you want it bad enough? Let me tell you something about desire. Real desire doesn't announce itself with noise. It introduces itself with sacrifice. Everybody says they want more, but very few people are willing to let go of what's familiar to make room for what's necessary. Because the truth is, wanting something badly is not measured by what you say in public. It is revealed by what you surrender in private. When desire is genuine, it starts rearranging your priorities. It interrupts your comfort. It challenges your attachments. It begins to ask you hard questions like, what are you willing to give up to get where you're trying to go? You can't say you want the next level while clinging to habits that belong to the last season. Every elevation requires an evacuation. Something has to be left behind. You don't carry excess baggage into new territory. If you really want it, you'll stop romanticizing the struggle and start releasing the weights. Because destiny is not heavy. Disobedience is heavy. Fear is heavy. Comfort is heavy. And the more you hold on to what's safe, the harder it becomes to move toward what's significant. Real desire will cost you time. It will demand focus when everyone else is distracted. It will require discipline when nobody is watching and endurance when nobody is clapping. You'll have to wake up earlier, push longer, and stand alone more often than you expected. And yes, it will feel unfair. It will feel lonely. But if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Sacrifice is the price tag attached to transformation. Some of you are frustrated not because you lack ability, but because you refuse to release what's draining you. You keep asking God for increase while protecting relationships that decrease you. You keep praying for open doors while refusing to close the ones that keep you distracted. Wanting it badly means having the courage to make uncomfortable decisions before circumstances force them upon you, because when you delay sacrifice, you also delay progress. And hear this clearly, sacrifice is not loss, it's investment. You're not throwing something away, you're planting it. Every hour you invest, every habit you break, every distraction you remove is a seed for the future you say you want. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret is permanent. One will shape you, the other will haunt you. If you truly want it, you won't keep negotiating with the cost. You won't keep asking how little you can give and still get results. You'll stop counting what you're losing and start focusing on who you're becoming. Because when desire is real, sacrifice stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like purpose. And the moment you're willing to pay the price, you prove, not just to the world, but to yourself, that you want it bad enough. Let me speak this plainly. Comfort will always argue with your calling. The moment you feel settled, satisfied, and safe is often the same moment your growth begins to slow down. Comfort whispers, "Stay here, you've done enough," while calling declares, "There is more, and you're not finished." The danger of comfort is not that it feels good, but that it slowly convinces you that where you are is all you'll ever need to be. And if you're not careful, you'll start defending what's familiar instead of pursuing what's possible. Calling is disruptive by nature. It does not arrive politely or ask permission. It stretches you beyond your preferences and pulls you into places you didn't plan to go. That's why comfort resists it so strongly. Comfort loves routines that don't challenge you, conversations that don't confront you, and environments that don't require change. But purpose cannot be fulfilled in spaces that never demand growth. You can't stay who you are and become who you're called to be at the same time. Many people confuse peace with stagnation. Just because nothing is shaking doesn't mean nothing is wrong. Sometimes the absence of struggle is not a blessing. It's a warning. It means you've stopped pushing boundaries, stopped taking risks, stopped stretching your faith. Comfort dulls your urgency. It makes delay feel reasonable and excuses sound logical. Before you know it, years pass and you're still standing in the same place, wondering why nothing changed. If you really want to walk in your calling, you must be willing to feel uncomfortable on purpose. You will have to step into rooms where you don't feel qualified, speak up when your voice shakes, and move forward without all the answers. Calling often leads you away from applause and into obedience. It will ask you to release control and trust growth over certainty. And that is terrifying for anyone who has learned to survive by staying safe. But hear this, everything you desire lives outside your comfort zone, the confidence you want, the impact you crave, the strength you admire in others was forged in moments of discomfort. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you're stretched, pressed, and challenged. Comfort maintains, calling transforms. One preserves the old version of you. The other demands a new one. The hardest part is that comfort feels justified. You can explain it. You can rationalize it. You can point to responsibilities, past failures, and real fears. But calling doesn't respond to excuses. It responds to obedience. And the moment you choose comfort over calling, you trade destiny for convenience, not because you're incapable, but because you decided not to move. When you finally choose calling over comfort, it won't feel safe, but it will feel right. You may lose familiarity, but you gain alignment. You may feel exposed, but you become empowered. Because the moment you step out of what's comfortable, you step into what's meaningful. And that's when you discover that comfort never protected you. It only postponed who you were meant to become. Let me reframe pain for you, because too many people quit at the very moment they should be qualifying. Pain is not a sign that something is wrong. More often, it's evidence that something is being formed. Resistance shows up only when you're pushing against limits, stretching beyond what you were before. If there is no friction, no strain, no challenge, then you're not moving forward. You're circling what's familiar. Pain is not your enemy, complacency is. Every significant pursuit comes with pressure. Muscles grow because they're torn before they're strengthened. Faith deepens because it's tested before it's trusted. Character is refined because it's squeezed until what's real rises to the surface. The reason pain feels so personal is because transformation is intimate. It reaches into places you've protected, areas you've avoided, and forces you to confront who you really are when comfort is stripped away. That discomfort is not punishment, it's preparation. Too many people interpret pain as rejection, when in reality it's often confirmation. The enemy doesn't fight what isn't a threat. Resistance shows up when your movement matters. When you're standing still, there's nothing to oppose you. But when you decide to grow, to change, to rise, friction meets you at the door. Pain is the toll you pay for progress. You don't avoid it by quitting. You only delay what it was sent to produce. Pain also exposes priorities. It reveals what you're committed to and what you were only curious about. Anyone can shout when things are easy. Anyone can dream when the path is clear. But when the pressure increases and the cost becomes real, that's when desire is tested. Pain asks a single, brutal question: is this worth it to you? And your response determines whether you retreat or rise. Let's be honest, pain humbles you. It forces you to admit you don't have all the answers, all the strength, all the control. It strips away arrogance and replaces it with dependence. And that humility is not weakness, it's alignment. Because growth doesn't come from pretending you're strong. It comes from allowing yourself to be shaped. Pain slows you down long enough to refine you, correct you, and redirect you. If you avoid pain at all costs, you avoid growth by default. You cannot mature without being challenged. You cannot lead without being tested. You cannot evolve without being uncomfortable. Pain is the classroom where endurance is taught and resilience is built. It trains you to stand when quitting feels reasonable and to press forward when retreat feels logical. One day you'll look back and realize the moments that hurt the most are the ones that changed you the deepest. The struggle you resented strengthened you. The pressure you questioned prepared you. Pain did not disqualify you, it developed you. And when you understand that pain is proof you're in pursuit, you stop running from it and start learning from it, because the very thing that tries to break you is often the same thing that builds you into who you were always meant to become. Let me tell you why consistency will always outlast motivation. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls with your mood, your circumstances, and how things are going in the moment. Some days you feel unstoppable, other days you feel empty. If your progress depends on how you feel, your future will always be unstable. Consistency, on the other hand, doesn't ask how you feel. It asks who you've decided to be. It shows up when the excitement is gone and the applause is silent. Most people wait to feel inspired before they act, but discipline works in reverse. Action produces momentum, and momentum fuels belief. You don't wake up consistent. You become consistent by showing up repeatedly, especially on the days you'd rather disappear. Those ordinary, uncelebrated moments are where real transformation happens. Nobody sees them, nobody praises them, but they are quietly shaping your outcome. Consistency is proof of commitment. It says, I'm not here for a moment, I'm here for the process. Motivation chases results, but consistency builds roots. Results come and go, but roots keep you grounded when things get hard. When setbacks hit, and they will, motivation tends to collapse. But consistency keeps moving even if the steps are small and the progress feels invisible. The problem with motivation is that it loves beginnings. It thrives on new goals, fresh starts, and big declarations. But it gets bored with repetition. It grows tired of the same discipline, the same effort, the same grind. Consistency understands that repetition is not punishment, it's preparation. Every time you repeat the right action, you reinforce the identity of who you're becoming. You're not just doing the work, you're becoming the kind of person who does the work. Consistency also builds trust, first with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, your confidence grows. You stop doubting whether you can follow through. You stop relying on external validation. You begin to respect your own word. That inner trust is powerful because once you believe you can depend on yourself, you stop looking for shortcuts. There will be days when motivation completely disappears, days when progress feels slow, when effort feels pointless, when quitting feels logical. Consistency carries you through those seasons. It doesn't need excitement, it runs on decision. A decision made once and honored daily will outperform a burst of passion every time. Small steps taken faithfully will travel farther than giant leaps taken occasionally. People often underestimate the power of showing up. They think impact comes from intensity, when in reality it comes from endurance. Consistency compounds. What feels insignificant today becomes unstoppable over time. 1 hour a day, one disciplined choice, one repeated action. These are the bricks that build a future. Motivation may start the journey, but consistency is what finishes it. When you learn to move without waiting for motivation, you free yourself from emotional dependence. You stop being controlled by how you feel and start being guided by who you are becoming. And that's when progress becomes inevitable, not because you felt like it, but because you decided to stay faithful to the process. Let me be honest with you, excuses don't just explain failure, they expose decisions. Every excuse is a quiet confession of where you decided to stop fighting. People don't quit all at once. They quit in sentences. They quit when they start justifying delay, minimizing effort, and blaming circumstances. An excuse is not a lack of opportunity, it's a lack of ownership dressed up as reason. Excuses sound intelligent. They use logic, history, and fear to make surrender seem responsible. They say, this isn't the right time. I'll start when things calm down. I don't have what others have. And the danger is that excuses don't feel like giving up. They feel like waiting. But waiting without movement is just quitting slowly. Time does not change things, decisions do. An excuse always protects something. It protects comfort, pride, image, or fear. It keeps you from risking failure, from being exposed, from trying and falling short. But in protecting yourself, you imprison yourself, because every excuse builds a wall between where you are and where you could be. You may feel safe behind that wall, but you also feel stuck. Safety without progress becomes frustration. The truth is, if it matters enough, you adjust. If it doesn't, you excuse. Desire finds a way, reluctance finds a reason. People who are serious about growth don't deny difficulty. They just refuse to let difficulty decide their direction. They acknowledge the obstacle, but don't give it authority. Excuses hand authority to circumstances. Responsibility takes it back. Excuses also weaken your identity. Every time you tell yourself a reason why you can't, you reinforce a story of limitation. Over time, that story becomes belief. And once limitation becomes belief, you stop reaching. You don't fail because you're incapable. You fail because you stopped expecting more from yourself. Excuses shrink vision until mediocrity feels acceptable. What makes excuses so dangerous is that they are socially acceptable. People will agree with them. They'll sympathize, validate, and understand. But validation does not produce change. Comforting lies will keep you stuck longer than uncomfortable truth ever will. Growth requires honesty, and honesty demands that you confront the part of you that would rather explain than evolve. There comes a moment when excuses lose their power. That moment is when you get tired of hearing your own explanations, when the same reasons repeat year after year and nothing changes. Frustration becomes clarity. You realize that the enemy was never the situation, it was your response to it, and that realization is painful, but it's also liberating. Because what you own, you can change. When you stop making excuses, you stop leaking energy. All the effort that went into defending why you couldn't now fuels why you will. You don't become fearless, you become honest. Honest enough to admit you're afraid and brave enough to move anyway. Excuses fade when responsibility rises. And hear this, freedom begins where excuses end. The moment you stop explaining your inaction is the moment you reclaim your power. Because excuses may sound reasonable, but they always cost you your future. And once you see that clearly, you stop confessing limitation and start declaring movement. Let me tell you why half commitment produces half lived results. You cannot casually step into a destiny that demands everything you are. Transformation does not respond to interest, it responds to surrender. As long as you keep one foot in safety and the other in purpose, you will live in constant tension, busy, tired, and unfulfilled, because destiny does not negotiate. It requires all of you or it waits. Total commitment begins when you stop asking how much is enough and start giving what is required. Partial effort is deceptive because it makes you feel involved without being invested. You attend, you try, you start, but you don't persist. And persistence is the language transformation understands. Breakthrough doesn't come to the curious, it comes to the committed. When you are fully committed, your priorities realign. You stop chasing everything and start pursuing what matters. Distractions lose their appeal because clarity sharpens your focus. You don't need constant reassurance or applause. You are anchored by decision. Commitment simplifies life. It cuts away the unnecessary and strengthens the essential. What once felt overwhelming becomes intentional. Total commitment also demands identity change. You cannot commit fully while still seeing yourself as who you used to be. Transformation requires you to let go of old labels, old narratives, and old limitations. You stop saying, "This is just how I am," and start asking. That shift is uncomfortable because it removes excuses and replaces them with responsibility. But it is also powerful because it puts growth back in your hands. There will be moments when full commitment feels costly. You will question whether the sacrifice is worth it. You will feel the tension of choosing long-term purpose over short-term pleasure. But that tension is not a sign you're wrong. It's proof you're changing. Growth always challenges what used to satisfy you. And the more committed you become, the less appealing your old life will feel. Half-hearted effort keeps you cycling between progress and regret. You move forward just enough to see what's possible, then pull back when it demands more. That cycle is exhausting. Total commitment breaks it. When you decide fully, you stop debating daily. The decision is already made, and that frees mental and emotional energy to focus on execution rather than hesitation. Commitment also builds authority. When you are all in, your actions carry weight. Your words align with your behavior. People can sense it. Opportunities respond to it. Confidence grows not from success, but from integrity, knowing that you are giving your best, not your leftovers. That integrity stabilizes you when results are slow and pressure is high. In the end, transformation is not about intensity, it's about alignment. When your actions, values, and vision move in the same direction, change becomes inevitable. You stop living in fragments and start living with intention. And when you give yourself fully to the process, you don't just reach a goal, you become someone new. Because destiny does not reward convenience, it responds to commitment that holds nothing back. Hear me as I close. Destiny is not impressed by your intentions, it responds to your obedience. Heaven is not moved by what you meant to do, only by what you decided to finish. The door you keep praying for is already open, but it will not open wider for hesitation. It opens for movement. Stop asking if it's your season. Seasons change for those who step into them. Stop waiting on confirmation. Your persistence is the confirmation. If it was easy, everybody would have it. If it was comfortable, everybody would finish. But it was assigned to you because you were built for the pressure. So today, draw the line. No more excuses, no more half steps, no more retreating to safety. This is the moment where desire turns into decision and decision turns into destiny. If you want it with your actions. If you believe it, walk like it's already done. And if you're going to rise all the way. Because the world doesn't change for the interested, it makes room for the committed.